Okay. I don't know if anybody's going to show up, but here we are. We're live. And I'm going to do some Glyptal painting as we're live. See if we got anybody that shows up. Just checking my phone here. I got a couple messages. Tractor Hyatt's texting me. Wyborg's here. How we doing, Bryce? I'm gonna stir up my Glyptal here before we get to going here. Gears is in the house. Nope, no Gears today. Just working on painting some axle clamps for the 27 John Deere D project. Dave's in the house. Dave's got some parts coming his way, and I'm sure he'll make some videos for you guys on that for the 27D project. Still a little thick at the bottom. Nope, no oil in the gears yet. They're not installed on the tractor. They're still sitting in my spare bedroom just on the other side of the wall there. So Minnesota Oliver and Deere is here. How's it going, everybody? I've got squatch in my head right now with all of this Glyptal that I'm painting on some of these parts. It's really so these are the axle clamps. They go inside the rear end housing, and this is how the axle and the housing are actually held to the tractor. So the housing and axle assembly slides into the side of the tractor as a unit, and then there's a bolt that comes through this clamp which catches on the inside of the rear end housing, and that bolt goes through the axle housing on the outside, and it clamps the axle housing to the to the rear end housing. And I'm just working on painting the last pieces of or the last portions of these. Figured I'd get this done and do a live stream while I do it, so I'm going to have to bounce back and forth between the chat and paying attention to what I'm doing here. So but this is using the Glyptal is a tedious process. They do have spray cans of Glyptal, but I saw the prices of that stuff on the spray can, and quite frankly, I'm not going to pay that for it, because you can get a quart of this for about the same price as you can in the spray cans. So let's see. Logan's here. Tony tell you I helped drop off the tires for the A? No, he didn't, but that's good. Good of you to help him out. Get this stuff done here. Try to catch up between pieces here. Jason says, it's been a while for me. Good to catch you on live. Hey, good to see you, Jason. I'm just bouncing back and forth between reading and painting Glyptal on parts here for the 27D. So forgive me if I'm not completely engaged in the chat. I'll try and bounce back and forth, but I don't want to get Glyptal all over my computer. So hope everybody's doing well. I know this was pretty last minute, but I figured, what the heck? My daughter's upstairs sleeping, so I might as well try to knock out a live. I know I'm a day late. I missed February, but in my defense, February is a short month anyhow, so you can't be mad at me for that. Logan says, if I worked on tractor parts in the house, mom or dad would probably strangle me. Well, see, that's the advantage of having your own house. But I understand that, at some point, you're only old enough to do what you can. I don't know how old you are, Logan, but living at home is, you definitely got to follow mom and dad's rules. That's for sure. Especially if they're not charging you any rent or anything like that. So count your blessings, because stay a kid as long as you can. And I think everybody and anybody will correct me or agree with me. So let me see here. How many of these wheel clamps are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whoa. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. These aren't wheel clamps. These are axle clamps. It's my fault for mislabeling them. Kind of a unique design with these. I don't know if the Case SC is similar to this. Hunting and stuff is here. It's a good time. Looked at his BO or his BR a month or so ago. Oh, so you were over at the house then? Okay. That's awesome. Or no, that must have been when he had it at his place. The BR. It's a tight little tractor. It's really neat. By tight, I mean it's not all wore out. It was a good purchase for him. So it's definitely pays off to buy tractors that are already done, but at the same time, you don't know exactly what has been done if they don't have receipts. Like they say on Vice Grip Garage, the Craigslist rebuild, little spray paint, and yep, fully rebuilt. Okay, where's the receipts? Oh, I lost them. Hyatt's in the house. How we doing, Hyatt? Hyatt's helped out a lot with this project as well. He was a major contributor to the suicide awareness tractor, and Hyatt has gone above and beyond with helping on this project as well. So, good friend of mine, big supporter of the channel and of the hobby. Sorry if I missed anybody's comments or questions. If I didn't get them, just post them again, and I'll try and catch them on a replay, if you will. But I'm focused right now. Okay, I'm finishing these up. Let's see. Logan says, I'm a bit too young. I'm only 16. Enjoy it, buddy. Trust me. Don't be in a rush to grow up, because if there's anything I've learned, it doesn't matter how much money you've got. You cannot buy more time. And enjoy being a kid as long as you can. And if your parents are willing to let you stay in their house, as difficult as it might be sometimes, to put some money away so you can save up for a house of your own or a place of your own, some land, whatever you want to do, I highly recommend you do it. Because these days, it is tough. Let me tell you, it is tough. I work a lot, and a lot of guys on the channel that are here a lot, they know, through our communication outside of YouTube, that I work a lot, and a lot of us do. just to keep our heads above water. You know, it's kind of the nature of the beast right now with everything that's going on in the world. And I don't want to get political, but it's tough. It's tough out there. So stay a kid as long as you can. Does my daughter have a toy tractor? My daughter has, she's got an electric tractor, like a little Power Wheels type tractor. We were actually driving that around today. We had our first bonfire of the year this afternoon. We kind of were celebrating that she doesn't need pull-ups anymore, which is a huge thing. It's kind of a sad day, though. I'm going to miss that, you know, bonding of changing diapers and pull-ups and all of that as a kid, because it as a little kid, because it just means your kid is starting to grow up, you know, starting to become their own independent person, and it's a bittersweet day. She still needs them at night, I think, for now, but as far as during the day, that's over with. She's doing it all on her own now, and she's probably a little behind, but every child is different, so I'm not really stressed about that. I talked to somebody whose relative, their child was in pull-ups until like 9 years old, and that's a little bit much, I think, for me. Jason says, hopefully I'll be able to get an H. Oh, see if I can get this. Oh, I got this set to the wrong thing here. Hopefully I'll be able to get an H up and running this spring. Yeah, that'd be great. Need to get back to editing videos. Get on it, Dave. Don't wish life away. That's right. Okay, Tony asked for help to load the tires on his new trailer in that fancy GMC. Yeah, that's quite the truck, isn't it? When are you going to paint in the trees like Bob Ross? Oh, we'll just splash a little Glyptal in here, just kind of the, you know, make sure we get in all the nooks and crannies. And I'm not Bob Ross, I can't. Just a splash of color here. Cover up that fresh cast iron gray. Give it kind of that new look. I've got the reverse idler shaft here sitting in front of me. When I'm done painting this, I'll show you guys one of the two reverse idler shafts. This is in the worse condition, if you will. But Dave is actually going to make us a new shaft and new bushings for the reverse idler gear. So stay tuned to his channel, because I'm sure he'll make videos on that. Plus, he's got a lot of great machining videos that he does with all kinds of stuff. Some stuff for steam engines and early gas engines. And Dave is a self-taught CNC machinist. Pretty impressive. I don't know if that's something I could do. I'm not a computer whiz, so. Gino Farms, does that guy machine clutch parts on a John Deere A also? Yes, he does. If you send me an email at kenny.kissel@yahoo.com, I can get you his contact information. I've contacted him through Facebook. His name is Mark Meyer. You can find him on a lot of the John Deere two-cylinder groups. If you've got Facebook, that's probably the easiest way to look him up. just get on those groups and ask, does anybody have the contact information for Mark Meyer, the gentleman who rebuilds the clutch fork assemblies? And they'll get you in contact with him. But he does a fantastic job. He does a lot of them for a lot of people. So, okay. Moving right along. This has taken a lot less time than the front side did, because these have all these nooks and crannies you have to get in, inside the bolt hole, inside this kind of cutout here. So I'm just doing the back side of these now. Surviving Maine on a 20-acre farm. Good evening. First live chat I've found of yours. I love John Deere D's. I had a nickel hole years ago. Nickel holes are good. They are good tractors, and they are more rare than a spoker, which most people don't know. Everybody's after the spokers, but the nickel holes are more rare than a spoker. Nickel holes were only made in 26. Spokers were made from 23 to 25. Some contests they were made into early 26, and I don't know exactly the production numbers on them, but that may be the case. I'm no expert. I just learn as I go. If there's a day you stop learning, well, you might as well just give up, because nobody knows everything. Let's see. By the way, sixth finger. I don't know what that means. Yes, Hyatt. Good point. If you haven't checked out Tractor Wars, it was just released this week from the Iowa Public Broadcast System. I put a link on my community page on the channel, but all you have to do is search Tractor Wars on Facebook or on YouTube, and it'll come up. If you haven't watched it, I've watched it 2.5 times, and it's a great documentary. It's about an hour long, but it basically describes the story of Ford, International Harvester, and John Deere. And there's all kinds of cool little, videos, clips, and everything from the turn of the century that I've never seen before. Some of them I have, but most of them I haven't. There's pictures that they include that I've never seen of machines I've never seen, and just a really cool documentary. A lot of cool information. But Logan says my 92 Chevy K3500 Scottsdale is more than enough truck than I need. It's a diesel. Must have the 6.5 diesel in it. So I get okay fuel economy, provided I don't drive like an idiot, and I can tow my equipment around if I need to. Yeah, that's all you need. Something to get you to and from, and something that hauls. I'm still running around in my little Chevy Trailblazer. It does have the 5.3 V8 in it, which is kind of hard to find in the short wheelbase, but the suspension is not nearly enough to haul a tractor. I could probably get away with maybe I've seen guys on Facebook hauling like a Farm All H with a Trailblazer, but I wouldn't do it. Even with the V8, which is essentially a half-ton transmission and engine, I wouldn't do it. Okay. That's it for the axle clamps. This Glyptal, this is left over from the Farm All H, and there's still probably about a third of it left. I have a new quart, but I haven't even dipped into it yet. Let's see. If the occasion ever comes up, does he machine all of her parts? Does who machine all of her parts? Mark Meyer or Dave? I'm sure Dave would. I like John Deere, mainly the color yellow-green. We used to have a John Deere riding mower. John Deeres are good machines. They're very good machines. John Deere made a run of 2,000 nickel hole Ds and did a recall on them. That's why there's so few left. Yeah. There are not many left, that's for sure. I know that Detweilers will cast new flywheels for people, but yeah, there's not many left at all. The 27s are still a keyed crank, so you can put a nickel hole or a spoker flywheel on them if you want. It's not going to be a true nickel hole or spoker, obviously, but if you want to do it, you can. Let's see. Looking at a 2019 F350 Power Stroke for my big purchase this year. Yeah, I've got a big purchase in the works right now, but it's not a pickup. I'm keeping that one close to the heart. Only a couple people know about that one, so yeah, not going to give you any more information. Hyatt wants to know who's going to be at Now Then in August. I'll be there for sure. I was denied vacation on Friday, the first day of the show, but I'm not going to work. I might have to have an illness that day. I learned to rebuild the diesel in my Oliver 1555 by myself, recorded myself taking it apart, and just figured it out as I went. And when it started after the rebuild, my smile was a mile wide. I bet. That's probably the most rewarding part of doing this is, aside from the friends that we make through all of this, it's that first startup and, hearing everything come to life for the first time it's really a rewarding thing. So I'll be right back, guys. I'm going to go get my paint thinner to clean this brush. Okay. I'm back. Oh, that rag's under my computer. We had one of those John Deere built Scott's lawn tractors. It was a good tractor till the connecting rod became multiple pieces and windowed the block. Yeah, that's not the most effective way to get your oil changed, but it works. I'll be at Now Then this year, hopefully with one of the Moline garden tractors or an Oliver. All right. Well, this year I know is the year of Case at Now Then. The 150 Case will be back at the Dodge County threshing show. That's in Wisconsin. I think it's the first weekend in Wisconsin. I don't know if I'll be there or not. Let's see. Why not using a primer? You don't need a primer with Glyptal. It's meant to be put right over bare cast or bare material. Minnesota Oliver and Deere. Name is Dan Hyatt. Sold mine for $10,000 15 years ago to a guy in Utah. He sent me cash through the mail, which I thought was crazy. That's crazy. He sent you $10,000 in cash in an envelope through the mail? That's crazy. He must have had money, because if it would have been lost. I agree that the best thing when rebuilding something, that first pop of the engine is the best. Rebuilt my 42H this last summer, and boy, were myself and Rob Bell smiled so wide. I bet. Going to top coat over it? Nope. This stuff goes on really thick, and it goes a long way. All of this stuff. So this is the Glyptal right here. 1201 red enamel. It's an insulating paint. But this stuff is meant to go over bare cast. Here, I can see. Well, that doesn't really help. Doesn't really help. But if you read the Glyptal description online, it'll tell you exactly what it's used for, and it helps with a lot of things as far as insulating, sealing the cast, because cast is porous. So if you were to take a bare cast iron tub, this is the reverse idler gear for the John Deere D. But when I get it back, this is the other one out of the 28. But when I get it back from Dave, because he's making new bushings for us for inside here, I'll paint all of this area in the middle red with Glyptal. Oh, it's heavy. But it helps with drain back as far as the oil goes, flow of the oil so it doesn't stick to the sides of the cast. But as I was saying before, cast is porous. So if you don't seal it over time, it'll become saturated. And eventually the oil will kind of wick its way through the cast over many years of use. So these clamps, no, they're not internal or external parts. These are internal. These go on the inside of the rear end tub to clamp the axle housing to the tub. It's kind of an interesting system, but it'll make more sense when the tractor goes back together if you watch those episodes when they come. So the housings don't bolt to the axle housings don't bolt to the rear end housing. They clamp to it, and then you can actually rotate the housing forward, and that will tighten the chain up, the drive chains in the rear end. So Bryce says Dodge County's in southwest Wisconsin. That's a drive for me, and I'm 100 miles closer than you. Yeah, it was about a 5-hour drive for us one way last year when we went. So it's not close. To answer your earlier question, my truck was built in 91. It's a 92 model, so it had the 6.2 naturally aspirated diesel, although someone put a turbo and intake off a 6.5 on it. Well, from what I understand, those 6.5s are prone to breaking crankshafts, so it's good that it's not a 6.5, I guess. I called him to tell him I got the money, and he said that's good because he doesn't want to send it again. I bet. Chrome Pipe Kid is in the house. How are we doing, young man? I said I was going to show the shaft from the reverse idler. You guys can see if we can, how badly this thing is scored. I mean, the video doesn't do it justice, but there's a step here. If you guys can see that edge there, that's where one of the bushings wore into it. And this other side is very, very scored as well. But it's got two, they look like keyways, so I got to figure out which direction to go here. They look like keyways, but they're actually not. These are flats that are milled into it to for the set bolts on the centering collars to tighten against, so it's against a flat surface and not against a round piece of steel. And then there's an oil groove in this as well to help feed oil to the bushings. So that's what Dave's going to make for us, is a new shaft. because both of the ones that came out of these tractors were bad. And from my research, he'd be hard-pressed to find a good one. So, and then he's going to make us new bushings for inside the gear. Five-speed manual, which is fun except when parked on a hill with a loaded trailer. Yeah, I can bet. Rudy's here. Tomorrow in the morning, we are headed back to Hans' place in southern Minnesota, and he's going to help us get the clutch pulley gears off of the clutch pulleys, because one of the ones that I have is severely chipped, so we need to take that one off and switch it out with the good gear. But we also need to free up the clutch collar assembly that's on there. I need to get the clutch dogs out of one and put them in the other one, because the clutch dogs in the good pulley are 2 out of the 3 of them are broken. So we got to get the ones out of the other pulley that has chips in it to put them into that one. And in order to do that, we have to take the clutch collar off, which is stuck on the pulley. So we got to figure that out too. Let's see. Chrome Pipe Kid says, just getting through getting sick. Yeah, the crud has been going around for a couple months now. Jake wants to know if I'm going to repaint the John Deere D along with rebuilding everything else. Nope. This one's going to stay all original. Everything inside is going to be as new as we can make it, as right as we can make it, but everything on the outside is going to be just as it is. We're going to clean it up as best we can, kind of bring back some of the original paint that's on it, and then that's going to be the way it is. I'm starting to, the older I get, I start to appreciate the the age and the natural state of these tractors, the patina, if you will. It took 97 years for this tractor to age the way it has, and we're going to leave it just as it is. One guy has the crud in the truck station, so it's only a matter of time before the whole station is sick. Yeah, that's kind of how it goes. Love the patina when things are original. I just picked myself up about six cans of oven cleaner so we can spray down the inside of that John Deere D rear tub and get that thing degreased. And then we're going to send it to the sandblast shop down the road, and they're going to sandblast the inside of it, the crankcase and the rear end portion, to so we can put Glyptal on the inside. Sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought what I was talking about, but they're only original once. That's right. Rudy Hans messaged me and asked if you were going to be going along, because there's going to be a gentleman there at about 11 that's bringing some magnetos for you to work on. So I informed him that you won't be going, but I can bring the magnetos back with me. So there'll be more mags for the shop, more work. How's the Relics 41 SC doing? We haven't touched it since last year. It's been sitting in the front yard still. What do we have to do on it? We got to install the alternator. We got to wire it. I think that's about it. Been a while since I've seen it live. Good evening from Otsego. Hey, Mike, how we doing? That's what we did with our Farmall 504, the original faded paint and the discolored decals. Clear coated over it because it looks good with it. It's completely mechanically restored, but original paint. Nothing wrong with that. Not afraid to use it then either. When you get them all shined up, and expensive paint jobs are nice, but then you're afraid to use them. It's like lines on an old person's face. Just makes things look distinguished and helps tell the story. That's right. Just waiting for my bee farm wall to be all wired up. You'll get it done. Slowly but surely. I got the... Here, let me... I'm going to half put this glove on, but this is the bearing out of the clutch. Just a big Hyatt roller bearing. What else can I show you that's here? This is the axle collar. It threads down in place and holds the seal and bearing and everything in. And this is your parking brake lever. Got that all cleaned up and ready. So we're making progress on stuff. We're trying to do the small stuff, but the clutch is going to be, that's going to be a big project, I think, getting the clutch done. And then from there, what do we have left for rebuilding? Axles in the differential, that's about it. And then once the rear end is back from sandblasting, cleaned, back from sandblasting and painted with Glyptal, we can start putting stuff together. So bringing your farm all beta now, then awesome. That's why we keep them original, to keep them in the field working like they're supposed to. Well, I don't have a field to put them in, but when I can put them to work, I do. I try. Just so you know, I sported your Rusty Nuts Ranch hat at the Florida Flywheeler show last week. It's the comfortable, well-fitting cap. I'm glad you like it, and I'm glad you're there supporting the channel for sure. These are actually the same manufacturer that I get my uniform hats from for work. So I actually did some plowing the other day. I had to move it to get the Oliver 1800 out, and it was hooked to a number 60 316 plow, and said, screw it, plowed okay for it only being 50 degrees. Okay is good. Have I been able to get any parts from a Deere dealership? I've been able to get new old stock parts that were in new packaging, like new style John Deere packaging, but I haven't bought anything directly from a dealer because it's expensive to get anything from a dealer these days, so I try to avoid it. Kathleen wants to know, do I have any Minneapolis-Moline equipment? I used to have a Minneapolis-Moline ZTU, but I had to sell it during the whole COVID thing. I had to sell 4 tractors actually during that time. So unfortunately, I don't have one anymore, but I would like to get another one at some point because my grandpa used to work on the assembly line for Minneapolis-Moline in Hopkins, Minnesota. And he was a gentleman that installed the radiators in the tractors when they were coming through the assembly line. So anything from the late 50s to probably, well, when they shut down, and I think they were bought out by White, and then they called them back. They called my grandpa back to work to help with the changeover process and the parts inventory and all of that. So I'm just working on moving these axle clamps here so they're all in a nice uniform row. Oh, I got one extra. Well, what am I going to do with that? I don't know. Let's put it right on the end here. There we go. I'll pick up a few of your hats for spring planting. I've got plenty of them. Just let me know what colors you want. Yep. If anybody's interested in a hat, just send me an email, kenny.kizzle@yahoo.com. We'll get them made up and sent out to you. I have a few left in stock. I'm out of John Deere green and yellow right now, but I can get them. I just got to make a phone call and I can get them. So, but I have most other colors. These are the most popular ones. These kind of, I call it a drab green and khaki. So those are the most popular colors. But I've got 4 blue and white. I got red and black for International Harvester. I got green, like a forest green and white for Oliver. I've got all kinds of different colors. Nowadays, they don't know what these old tractors are now. Yeah, a lot of people don't. Has anyone ever participated in the Mackinac Bridge crossing in Michigan? I haven't personally. I know a lot of people that have. I'd like to bring the Suicide H there to do the crossing, but that's kind of a haul for us, especially since I don't have a pickup or a trailer. So it would be kind of cool to do, though, with the Suicide Awareness tractor. Most likely your grandpa put the radiator in the A4T 1600 that's on the farm. Very, very possible. Message you tomorrow about them. Good enough. Good morning from sunny Cyprus, 4:30 a.m. My 555 diesel Massey Harris came to me in the UK yesterday. That's awesome. Thanks for tuning in so early in the morning. White bought MM in 1962, I believe, and they bankrupted and shut down MM Oliver and Cockshut by 76. Yep, I think that's when my grandpa was pretty much done with them because they moved to their lake place in Alexandria or near Alexandria in 79. So wasn't too much longer after that. He was out of the Twin Cities. I'll haul the Suicide Awareness H to Michigan free of charge just for the cause. Let's do it. I just got to get the time off work. I might bring the B Alice instead to now then because it's lighter, but still enjoy the show. Hey, even if you don't bring any equipment, there's plenty of stuff you can drive in our booth. Our tractors are open for drivers pretty much at any time. So I don't think Tony will mind if I borrow his trailer. He probably won't. It spends most of its days raking hay, brush hogging, and other light duty stuff. Yeah. It's okay. Work is work, though. Been out at 4 a.m. to feed some stray cat colonies. WD9 and Super WD9 went the opposite direction. We're just trying to help the little cat people get on their feet. Gas tractors are fun until you get the fuel bill. Bill's Antique Tractor Corner. How we doing, Bill? probably keep this live stream going for another half an hour. We'll keep it going till 9:15 p.m. Central Time, so that'd be, what, 10:15 on the East Coast? That's a good retirement job for the little Oliver. We still bail at the 1550. Nice to see you live, and it's nice to see you, Bill. Sorry, I'm dealing with some messages here on the phone. Uh-oh. Tony sent me a Minneapolis-Moline ZA. Ooh. That looks like a nice tractor. I think they were using it to pull. $1,600. If you guys can see that. $1,600. That's a good looking tractor for $1,600. Sorry. Okay, where are we at here? What's wrong with it for $1,600? Hyatt says, I need to add a Minneapolis-Moline tractor back into my collection. It's kind of funny how we're talking about Minneapolis-Moline and do I have any, and then Tony sends me a message, asks that lists one for sale. Yeah, I'm not buying any tractors right now. Sorry. Tony's raising his eyebrows at that. Don't be fooled by a nice paint job, but there are still some good people in the world that don't dress them up like that. Yeah, who knows? That paint job could be 30 years old, you know. My Case SC, we're coming up on almost 20 years ago we painted that tractor, and it still looks good, and, you know, it needs some bearing work in the rear end, but tractor's 83 years old, and the rear end's probably never been touched, so that's pretty good. Jesse says, enjoy all your videos and appreciate all your advice. Hey, man, I appreciate you tuning in. I'm grateful that, you know, I've made all these friends through this whole adventure, and it's been it's been a wild ride the last few years for sure. But, you know, things are kind of coming around full circle and going pretty good right now. So we'll see what happens in the future. I'm pretty optimistic, so excited. But thank you. Painting my 8N right now. Why I'm putting effort into a Ford, I'm not sure, but it is what it is. Wife loves them because they're easy to drive and get on and off of. Well, if that makes her happy, then you gotta keep that going. Trust me. How many tractors are at Rusty Nuts Ranch right now? Well, let's count them. We have Farm All H. We got the 27 John Deere D. We have Tony's 29 John Deere GP. We have the Relics 41 case SC. We have my 41 case SC. We have the 47 Farm All M. We have the 53 John Deere 60. We have Tony's, I believe it's a 38, 39 John Deere BR. We have his 45 John Deere AR. We have Rudy's Alice Chalmers B. We have Rudy's 35 John Deere B brass tag. We have Rudy's 1940 John Deere A. What am I missing? There's 13. 13 tractors here right now. Oh, we have Hyatt's 38 case RC. Can't believe I mean, Hyatt's the one that asked the question. I want an 8N with a Funk flathead V8 conversion and a Sherman over-under transmission because safety is overrated. You know, Hans over at Tractor Hoarders, he's got a Ford 8N with a Sherman transmission in it, and that thing moves. I bet it does almost 30 miles an hour in high gear. I always thought it'd be cool to take like a Farmall F20 and put a, you know, guys have done that though, like a inline six international truck engine in it, and then somehow convert the manifold to a updraft carburetor so it kind of looks factory, but then you have to figure out how to work the throttle and everything else because truck engines weren't governed. So high gear with a Sherman is even scarier than a Farmall H in fifth. A bit much, yeah. My granddad has a Funk with a V8 in it. Awesome. The land speed record of a tractor was set with a Funk at about 100 miles an hour. Yeah, I don't want to go 100 miles an hour on a tractor. I don't even want to go. I mean, 17 on a Farmall H is fast. 16, 17 miles an hour. That ZTU, that Minneapolis-Moline ZTU I had, that thing went pretty quick in high gear. I would be willing to bet it was between 16 and 20 miles an hour. But in reverse, that thing was slow. I mean, slow. Mackinac Bridge crossing is September 7th, 2024. I will contribute some money to send Kenny and the 42 suicide awareness age to the bridge crossing. Well, now hold on. September 7th. Let me take a look at the calendar. That's also the same weekend as the Andover show with the 150 in Andover, South Dakota. That's a conflict. But it's not saying it can't be done. What am I thinking on taking to now then? Well, I have to take the H. I have to take the case SC. We have to take Hyatt's case RC because the year of case again here at now then. So we have to take all the case tractors. Hopefully we can get the club tractor up and running. So we'll have another 41 SC there. I don't know if I'll have the John Deere D done. I really don't. I don't know if it'll be done for roll log. I'm hoping it will, but I've got some stuff going on behind the scenes here, and Hyatt knows a little bit about what I've got going on. But Hyatt and Rudy know. So we'll just have to see what shakes out as far as money goes. It's a good thing what I've got going on behind the scenes, but I don't know if the tractor will be done or not. So I think most of the big costs for that tractor are behind us, but we haven't gotten into the bearings for the rear end yet. So, and they're not cheap at all. I found a new old stock clutch bearing on eBay, and it was $250 for this bearing right here. New old stock, $250. So, if we got to redo all the bearings in the rear end, you're talking probably another $1,500 just in bearings for that. We haven't gotten the cylinder head back yet from the machine shop, and I'm starting to get a little worried because I've left probably half a dozen messages with them and they haven't called me back. So I'm not sure what to do with that, if I just need to go start knocking on their door and figure that out. But I might have to, we'll see. But, and they have all the new valve components that I got from a machine shop up in North Dakota. Just the valves, 4 springs, 4 guides, and then the spring retainers and the keepers was almost $800. So that's, it was not cheap. And then you got to look, that's without any machine work. So yep, that's the weekend after Rolog. It's the same weekend as the Andover, South Dakota threshing show, James Valley threshing show. Absolutely. If we have stuff that needs to be driven through the parade, you're more than welcome to help. The Albany Pioneer Power Show is September 12th to 15th. Yes, it is. It's a great show. Oh, excuse me. That's why I picked Now Then over Rolog this summer. Case is the featured tractor. I have to be there with my RC. Absolutely. No hard feelings there. We'll see what's going to be featured at Rolog next year. The feature this year at Rolog is John Deere, so that's kind of the push, is to get the John Deere D done for Rolog, because I'd really love to have it there. But if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Sometimes it's just not in the cards. You can't rush things that, you just can't control it sometimes, You start, if anybody knows anything about me, I got a lot of irons in the fire, so. There was a funny picture of a speeding ticket for one of those old co-op tractors with a Chrysler inline 6 in it for, I think, 50 or 60 and a 30. Yeah, those things cruise. Rudy says, hi, it'll be good to see you again. Yes, it will be. I agree. I believe I saw Kenny and Connor driving Connor's Super MDTA around the Now Then grounds. Yeah, you probably did. And I think he's got that tractor up and running again now. So I would have thought Now Then would have been Deere for a late 100th year party. It kind of goes in a rotation. So, they every so many years that same manufacturer will come up again. Heading to Mason City for Ed Power Days. Oh, Red Power Days. Yeah, I don't think I'll be going to Mason City for that, but it'd be cool to go. But I only get so much vacation every year, and I use a lot of it in August and September, and then I have to use a day of vacation every other week for my family situation, so it burns a lot of my vacation. Our museum shows power sports this year for the Manitoba Threshermen's Reunion. No tractor make. Well, power sports is kind of cool, though, if you get some vintage snowmobiles there and stuff like that. Some of those vintage snowmobiles are pretty cool. Can't wait till it's again at Now Then so I can see X253 in person. Well, hopefully Squatch will have X231 and X253 there. Julia says, my tractor is red and it has a pulley. It's probably a Farmall. Could be. Could be a Massey Harris. Vintage snowmobiles in July should make for an interesting parade. Well, a lot of them back then were air-cooled, so. Red Power Roundup is in Spencer, Iowa. Just saying. Yeah, I know it's in Spencer. I'd like to make it, but I don't know if I'll I don't know if I'll make it. So lots of people blowing my phone up all of a sudden. Red Power Roundup was a great show last year. Made the trip to Grand Island, Nebraska, and wasn't disappointed. Yeah, that's what I heard. Let's see. If you had to pick, what is your favorite brand of tractors? Oh, man, that's a tough one. I would have to say man, that's a tough one. I'd have to say probably Farmall. Yeah, it's a tough. I don't know. I like them all. I'm not very particular to Fords. They don't really do it for me, I guess, because the 8N, 9N, 2N, they all kind of look the same, and it's just kind of they don't really do anything for me, but they're fun. When I was out in Colorado with Hans over at Tractor Hoarders, it was, very smooth running tractor, very comfortable to drive. It's not something I grew up around, so I guess I'm not that attracted to it. John Deere, I guess that would probably be my favorite sounding tractor because nothing sounds like a 2-cylinder Deere. But as far as, I don't know, man, I guess Farmalls have always been kind of my draw. It was always my dream to have the entire letter series from the Farmall Cub all the way up to a Farmall M. So, but then, the more I think about it, I'd like to have a John Deere A, a John Deere B, a John Deere G, a John Deere D. Not too crazy about the L. They don't really do anything for me. The H's, John Deere H's, I think are kind of an odd tractor just because the clutch pulley is driven off the camshaft and not the crankshaft, and it rotates the opposite direction. And I find that just kind of odd, but let's see. I'm falling behind here. Even met Pete from Just a Few Acres Farm. He's a good guy, too. He's another great channel. My next tractor show is the first Saturday in April, Tifton, Georgia. Folk Life Festival. They have about 40 to 50 tractors and a little parade. That's not too bad. Sometimes the small ones are nice. It doesn't get too crazy and busy and everything else. Like Almaland is a good show, but it's incredibly busy. You can't really drive any tractors around, A, because it's so busy, and B, there's not really any, unless you're just driving them up and down the tractor roads, there's nowhere to drive them. So that's what I like about now. Then you can actually go out in the back field and drive them around, and it's not as crowded as Almaland. Almaland is a very big puller show, so that's kind of what the focus of that show is. Let's see. It's crazy to think those tractors are not supposed to still exist, but parts are literally non-existent, and it's probably going to cost Toby an arm and a leg and both kidneys to get X231 running again. Yeah, I've dubbed this John Deere D Christine 2.0 because it's I would have been so much better off just buying a running tractor, but hey, what do you do? I'm going to have some bragging rights from taking it from where it was to where it will be. So, Kenny, where would a guy find the studs that bolt the water line to the block on a B John Deere? I'm not having any luck finding them. Let me see here. The place that I got the valve components from. Let me look at my bookmarks real quick. H&J Machining. Here, let me, I'll open it in a new tab. These guys have valve components. They have studs. I'll put a link right here. Check this place out. You can get about anything from them as far as studs, valves, all kinds of custom machine parts. So anybody into John Deere or any tractors for that matter, H&J Machining is a great resource for stuff that's hard to find because they make a lot of stuff. Asking a car guy which car they drive or asking a tractor guy what brand they like will lead to a moment of thought, and they will change their answer 400 times in 30 seconds. Yeah, that's true. I have the same want. Farm All Letter Series. I really want a B with 2 seats and an MD. I would love to have a Super MD, Stage 2 Super M diesel, but I have no desire to put what kind of money it costs into repairing the M diesels. They are expensive to fix. I wouldn't mind a John Deere L, LI, or LA, but I'd probably have to reinforce the seat just to drive it. Well, Annie Fromm put a Cummins 4BT in an M, and there's a Canadian guy that put a 7.3 International IDI diesel into an M, and he did a fantastic job. It's on YouTube, and it is a beautiful tractor. Am I still thinking about that good-looking Minneapolis tractor for sale? No, I'm not. Tony might be. H&J Machining from Carrington, North Dakota? Yes, sir. Any paint brand you prefer on equipment? I've been using Nason and liking it so far. I like to use PPG personally if I'm going to paint something. It's expensive, but I use the PPG single stage Omni urethane based, and it's a good paint. I've used it on the H has PPG on it. The Case SC has PPG on it. It's a really good paint. It covers well. It's durable. It has a really nice shine. So yeah, Andy Fromm is on YouTube too. He's from Minnesota as well. Yeah, the case was painted. I think Domino did that in 2008. We finished it, or 2009. So it's been almost, 15 years since it's been done. 16 years. And it's been sitting outside, unfortunately, with all the projects I've got going on. I only have a 2-car garage, so that tractor's been sitting outside for 2 to 3 years at least. Jason says the M. What are you talking about, the M? I'm confused, Jason. Let's see. Can you say hello to Monica? Hey, Monica. She's becoming an Oliver Tractor fan after the Florida Flywheelers show. Monica, I think you need to look up a Oliver Hart Par 70. I think they're a very good looking tractor. I'm just saying. If I was to get an Oliver, it'd be a Hart Par 70. Is that the M that your grandfather had? The one that I have now? No. That was a salvage yard rescue from Beaver's Tractor Salvage in Barnesville, Minnesota. I've got a lead on my grandfather's M. I'm going to try sending a letter to the address of the person that supposedly has it to see if I get anything back from them. But if I don't know what else to try. I've tried calling the number that I have for the person, and I don't get any response or anybody answering the phone, so I don't know what else to try. What else can you do? I prefer the Oliver 88. 88s are nice tractors. They are a brute of a tractor for sure. I just like the Hart Par 70. It just got a really unique look to it. It was one of the first 6-cylinder tractors that Oliver had, if not the first. I don't know that much about them, but very cool tractor. My mom's dad had an Oliver 1950 two-wheel drive that he ran an International 916 pull-type plow with. Could hear him from a mile away. Found some pictures of it a while back and fell in love with it. Oliver Hart Par 70. Thanks for the tip. Hey, I told you this was an addiction, Hyatt. I told you. I know where you could possibly get a Oliver Hart Par 70. Oh, yeah? I'm not buying any more tractors right now. Spencer. One of my favorite photos of my son is on my knee driving an Oliver 77 when he was about 4 years old. That's what it's all about. The memories, making these memories and creating these bonds, and the tractors are just a mechanism to do it with. And we've only got about 4 minutes left before I'm going to shut down. I just realized what time it was. So, man, this one went quick. But these clamps are dry enough to touch now, and that Glyptal doesn't take long to dry. In case anybody was wondering. Oh, well. 1201 ready enamel. Thanks a lot for doing this. Enjoyable way to spend the evening with all you tractor fans. Absolutely, Bill. I try to do this once a month. Sometimes it doesn't happen just because of my work schedule and overtime and you know, sometimes it just doesn't happen, but I try to make it happen once a month. So sorry for the last minute throwing it at you, but my daughter fell asleep early, so I figured, what the heck, I'll give it a shot and see who tunes in. Thanks for tuning in, Lee. I appreciate it. I remember when Dad let me drive the D4 for the first time, and it was a brute. Yeah, I've only driven a crawler one time, and it was X253, actually. It was Squatch's Minneapolis-Moline prototype crawler. He let me drive that when he had it at Now Then, which was quite the privilege, I'll tell you. It was a textbook story. It was traded in on a 2-150 white, and it was gone forever, and my phone was refusing to cooperate, but the International 916 is actually a pull-type combine. I do know where it is. Well, you can always try and get it back. Do know where it is, but don't know who owns it. Figure out who the landowner is, I guess. Monica is looking at a picture of a Heart Bar 70. She wants to know the 70 represents, or is it just the model number? 70 is the model number. Been a pleasure to catch up and catch you on your live stream. Much obliged. Absolutely, Tom. Really appreciate you showing up and hanging out with us. It means the tractor runs on 70 octane fuel. Didn't know that. You can drive ours if it is up there Now Then next year. Heck yeah. Rudy's taking off. Thanks for stopping by, Rudy, and I'll see you soon. I'll have a truckload of mags to bring you too. I'm going to start saying my goodbyes. It's 9:14. So, again, I appreciate everybody tuning in. Sorry it was so last minute and it just kind of popped up on everybody's feed. But you know, I had a good opportunity with some time early. My daughter fell asleep pretty early, so I figured, what the heck, I'd see if anybody was up to doing it, and we had a pretty good turnout. So I'm glad everybody showed up. But was driving down a road last fall after all the leaves had fallen, but before the snow had happened to see it off in the woods. Knew it was his from the custom extended auger. Well, figure out who owns the property. You might be able to get your hands on it at some point. All right, Hyatt, Logan, Spencer, Bryce, Tom. I think I'm going to call her quits for the night. Thanks for tuning in. It was good to spend an hour and some change with you guys, and I'm hoping I can get this John Deere D done for Rolog, and, you know, we'll see what happens. Can't do everything all at once, but little bits at a time. Take care, guys. We'll see you later.